Supernova heads into open beta, but Dark Nexus Arena closes its doors. Black Desert launches its first major expansion for the Western client. Ark Survival of the Fittest now pays out cash to be the fittest of the fittest, and Smite shows off a god reveal for the Manticore. What's happening, guys? James Blunt here with MMOHuts.com with a quick weekly recap for MMO news and announcements of the week ending April 4th, 2016. And we've got a lot of news coming in recently, starting with the start of open beta for Orcs Must Die Unchained this past week on March 29th. I mentioned it last week, but this week we've got a new trailer cinematic to check out that sort of highlights some of the game's features, including minion types, goofy trap mechanics, hero abilities and humor, and of course the same overall silly humor of the game, and lots of chaos, that's for sure. The game has changed quite a bit, and for the better since we took a first look on the game, so Bakerman Brad is actually going to hop in to show you guys some of the new features in an open beta refresher, if you will, this week. Regardless, there's plenty to look forward to now that the game is available to everyone free on Steam. You've got new maps, new heroes, traps and abilities, game modes, and plenty more. But speaking of open beta, MOBAs. MOBAs everywhere. Bandai Namco announced last week that its sci-fi MOBA RTS hybrid Supernova is now in open beta. After several closed beta phases and collecting player feedback, there are tons of new features and reworks thrown in for the open beta. 2 new commanders will be joining the ranks, one who's a master at martial arts and the other who brings the deadly missiles and all the lasers. The game will also see a new aesthetic feature called Environments, which lets players choose the backdrop for their battle prior to entering a match, and currently there's an arid desert option and a crazy looking jungle option to choose from. I can say it is impressive to see a game company, even bigger ones like Bandai, try to make a MOBA with so many already around to compete with, and the fact that people are pretty much sick and tired of them in the first place. But with that being said, the ones that innovate seem to stick around, and honestly, with its RTS focus elements, where you control your minions' type and functionality, this one innovates enough. Just enough. Plus, it's nice to see a change from the fantasy genre. Bottom line is, the game's actually worth a shot, seeing that it's now open, free to play on Steam. Might try it out. And on the sci-fi MOBA note, the new epic game from Epic Games, known as Paragon, shows off its newest hero in early access. The new tank jungler hero Sevarog enters the fray this past week, looking like a nice cross between Hades and Bakasura from Smite, wielding a soul-crushing mace. That's a nice recipe for a badass right there. His passive allows him to gain soul stacks that increases max health when he kills an enemy with his first ability called Siphon. Now, Siphon gains bonus damage for each soul stack plateau he reaches, and of course killing an enemy or minion with this attack will grant him a number of soul stacks. For me, his ultimate is fun in that it's like a home run strike for hitting enemies somewhere they don't want to really be, like your tower, for example. It's almost as satisfying as Steel's charge ability. Almost. Simple yet awesome still. Paragon is currently in early access, but I found out that you can actually get into early access by checking out some streams. This past weekend I streamed Paragon for a little bit, and Epic Games has a bot that hands out keys in the chat, so it might be worth checking out. Plus, the game is also fun to watch. But with so many MOBAs out there, some of them just have to fall, and this time it's Dark Nexus Arena, the Warhammer MOBA that's been in closed alpha or beta or something for a little while now, about a year. Last week, the CEO of Whitebox Interactive posted on the official homepage thanking players who've been supporting the game this entire time, but they've ultimately decided to stop the development on the game, stating that they couldn't quite encompass both aspects of MOBA fans and Warhammer 40k fans in one game. And as a result, the servers have officially gone offline as of March 31st. Next up, a new update hit Tribes of Sin this past week. Not a huge update, but hey, it's kind of nice to see updates to Tribes of Sin in the first place. Most of the changes are balances and tweaks, some of which are community-inspired, but the new map Hellfire is now available to play for CTF and Blitz, and has been added to the server map rotation. Ammo pickups now yield the same 400 HP heal on all armor types when picked up. All rapid-fire weapons have had an RNG-based spread completely removed in favor for precise shots based on player skill only. That was obviously a community-inspired one. And the vehicle ejection speeds have been increased, just to name a few changes in this fairly small update. Head over to the side post to pick up more details from the official patch notes. Also last week, Dom announced the launch of Mediah, the first expansion for Black Desert on the Western client. This update brings in the huge Mediah region, tons of new quests, fierce bosses, and plenty more. It's a big enough update to be considered an expansion for sure. The world size has been increased by 30% due to the new area, over 1,000 new quests have been added in, new guild missions are available, including special bosses that drop the most epic weapons. The Crimson Battlefield is now available, which is an instant 40 versus 40 skirmish for groups of 5 players or even solo players if you want. In the new area, we see Kazarka, an enormous world boss that can take on hundreds of players at a time, and this is just sort of scratching the surface for this massive update. It's almost like the Silver Frost Mountain update for Blade and Soul. Nobody was really expecting this much at once. The expansion is already live in-game, but you can head over to the site posted at MMOHuts.com to get all the details. Next up, Suba Games has done it again. Now, this is a developer that doesn't mind at all bringing back games that have shut down in the past, and this time it's Luna Online that's been dug up from the grave and revived. Shut down back in 2012 by G-Potato for various reasons, the game is back in closed beta once again as of this past Wednesday, March 30th. And if you're not familiar, as you can tell from the trailer playing here, Luna Online Reborn, as it's called now, is an anime MMORPG with player housing, lots of classes, lots of skills, and plenty of social mechanics to boast. Lots of pets. That's another thing. So maybe this time around there will be an audience for it. Who knows? And it looks like Ark Survival of the Fittest is taking off nicely as a free-to-play MOSA. I'm definitely a fan. Bakerman Brad and I have been the fittest several times now in the matches that we've played. The cool thing is, Studio Wildcard announced this past week that Friday, April 15th will end the first month's Survivor League, a league for the top players in Survival of the Fittest that dishes out just under $65,000 in cash every month. Every month on the 15th, the top 10 ranking players in each of the 4 game modes will be declared and entered into the Survivor League and receive a cash award by rank, with first place getting $3,500 in cash. Not too bad for monthly earnings for being the fittest, considering they're dishing out 40 separate prizes for this. Heck, if you make it in the top 10, you get $750. I could use that. I need a new main monitor. We haven't completely decided on this, and we wanted your opinion on it first. Bakerman Brad and I wanted to practice as a team to try to be in the Survivor League, practice daily, and perhaps even upload highlights of our epic matches. Not sure if we're good enough to be in the league, but it could be cool. Let us know in the comments below if you guys wouldn't mind seeing some intense survival matches. But with that said, moving on to the pranks of April Fools this past week, War Thunder takes another jab at wargaming with the first test of the sailing fleet. So according to the prank trailer, they too have introduced ships, but not modern battleships. Ships from the late 1800s instead. It was a real in-game event, just like the walking mechs last year, and honestly looks pretty cool. With their game mechanics, it's probably really fun as well. I wouldn't be surprised if this turns into a real thing. Maybe not so much. Likewise, World of Tanks visits the moon, again, this time with special spherical tanks and meteor showers to watch out for. Interesting. Dom Games announced that Black Desert will get special butt pose victory animations in the new Crimson Battlefield PvP mode added as part of the Mediah expansion at no additional cost. And in case you didn't know, this is a direct stab at the removal of Tracer's butt pose victory in Overwatch. A lot of controversy over that one. According to Dom, this one's staying in the game though. And speaking of Blizzard, Hearthstone decided to evolve into a fully fledged 3D MMORPG, so you can enjoy all the heroes from Hearthstone in MMO form, also known as World of Warcraft. Even Elsword decided to take things to the next level with ELPS, its new first-person shooter mode offering a more immersive combat experience. Yeah, seems like it. Warframe decided players should have iconic voice packs for Lotus, like Mr. Lotus.
Hang on, Tenno. It's taking longer than I calculated.
Dismal Lotus.
Alarms reset. But you'll probably set them off again, and most likely die.
And my favorite, they heck.
Your raid is off to a successful start. Excellent work, Tenno.
He may sound like he's full of rage, but he just wants to help. And finally, last but not least, my favorite, Smite brings us a god reveal for the beloved but semi-forgotten Manticore. This one is just funny to listen to. Lord Lady arguing with announcer dude.
I got distracted by my announcer pack. Did you get one yet?
Oh, we're going there? Fine. Let's just bring down the whole god reveal. How's that? The Manticore slams down his opponent, causing the entire map to change to Joe's.
Anyway, guys, that's about it for all the major MMO news and announcements and jokes. Like always, if you're looking for more information about the news featured in the recap, check the links in the description below. Otherwise, head over to MMOHuts.com for the latest in gaming news. Feel free to discuss the news in the comments below and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.